I think that many of the world's most pressing problems could be solved using segregation. Now wait, before you react, let me explain. No, this doesn't have anything to do with my new haircut. What I'm suggesting is not the segregation of races. No, what I'm suggesting is the segregation of racists and non-racists. I think that if we separate these groups and keep them apart, the state of things in the world will improve. That's my theory. Of all the places I got this idea from, white supremacists. You hear a lot of these white supremacists nowadays talking about wanting to create a white ethnostate. And as I understand it, this means a state that is restricted to certain ethnicities, namely Caucasian people. And I personally am in favor of this idea. I think it's a great idea. Let's have it. Let's give these people a home where they can feel like they are part of something they belong to. Because these people feel like they don't belong. They feel like their ethnic group or their race is in danger of extinction, of being overrun by minorities and immigrants and Muslims. Oh, so scary. So you see, I support this two-state solution. I think that the white supremacists, the racists and bigots and all those people, they should have a place to call their own. As long as I don't have to go there or live there or have anything to do with that place. I have no desire to even visit. I'm one of the people that knows what race truly is. A noun, an invention, a concept created by human beings to help explain and describe the superficial differences in human beings. Instead of calling them races, I think we should change our vernacular. I think a more accurate word for this is breed. Just like dogs. Take a pug and a Great Dane, put them side by side, and tell me, if you were an alien or a foreign visitor and you'd never seen dogs before, would you think that those two animals are part of the same species? Highly unlikely. Yet we know very, very clearly and unequivocally that a pug and a Great Dane are both dogs. They're part of the same family. Now take a look at human beings. You're never going to find a discrepancy as vast as the one between a pug and a Great Dane in the human family. We don't have 2-foot tall humans and then 8 feet tall humans, right? Our variety is very superficial compared to other animals, yet we still make a huge fucking deal out of it. Like race is a thing. Like, oh, you're black, I'm white. You're Latin, I'm Asian. But these are very, very minute differences, and they make up 1% of what is human. The rest of what makes us humans, let's say 99% of what makes us humans, is identical across the board, regardless of your so-called race, ethnicity, or whatever. See, I think racists are confused. I think they attribute to race what is actually due to culture. I think what racists truly despise in these groups that they hate so much is cultural. It has nothing to do with your biology or your ethnicity. There are cultures in this world that I loathe and despise. Misogynistic cultures. Cultures that put very little value on personal freedom. Cultures that condone hurting and even killing others because of who they love, what they look like, and who they worship. These cultures are loathsome to me. And when I'm at my worst and I read an article or a story that inflames my passions, sometimes I think that the world would be better off without these cultures. But of course, a culture is made up of people, or at least it is carried on by people. So that leaves us in a dilemma, because if we want to wipe out a culture, I think a lot of these racists believe that you have to wipe out the people that represent it and carry it onward. But I think there's a better way. And I think it starts with segregation. because these ideas about race and superiority would be easily dispelled as soon as you get a bunch of these backwards thinking supremacists together and take out all of the other foreigners and immigrants and minorities. I think that a white ethnostate would collapse in a matter of months, and these poor fucking idiots would be coming to the bigger state and asking for handouts. I think their economy would grind to a halt. I think that there would be infighting almost immediately, because as you can see from the alt-right and all these new groups that are coming up, these, racist, misogynistic groups that are rising all over the place, they're very fractured. They're not united. They can't even get along within themselves, because when the basis for your group is hatred, there is nothing good that can survive that. There's nothing good that can come of it. Nothing productive will grow from it. It's going to lead to disaster and destruction. And so I think, why not throw them all together and let them find this out on their own? And then when they're done their little experiment with the white ethnostate, we can welcome them back and we can begin the long and arduous process of reprogramming these people. Because really, they've been misprogrammed. They believe that race is an actual thing. It's a concept. It's a convention. And it's used to describe superficial differences in humans. But at no point does race mean that some people are less or more human. At no point does any scientist or biologist or anthropologist claim that races are actually hard and fast distinctions between groups of people. If you know anything about evolution and biology, then you know that really what we're dealing with here are degrees of variation. Anyway, those are my thoughts today on race and the prospect of a white ethnostate. I think it's good, as long as I don't have to live there, because, of course, my wife is not white, and my kids, by virtue of that, are also not white. So, I'm not going to be going there, but I think that they should have it. And hell, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the white ethnostate will thrive, and they'll be happy as clams, and they'll stop fucking with the rest of us, which, in my books, is a win. So, can't really go wrong with this one. So here's what you do. Write your MP a letter. Write the government letters and ask them for a white ethnostate. See what happens. Make sure you explain why you support a white ethnostate, though. Make sure you tell the government it's not because you are a white supremacist yourself, but rather because you think that if you put all the white supremacists together, everybody else will be much better off. Anyways, I don't know if this is controversial or not. I have no idea if this is a popular opinion, unpopular opinion. I don't know if anybody's ever even thought of this. I think most of the time when the prospect of a white ethnostate is brought up, it's ridiculed and laughed out of the room. And that's unfortunately what got us in this mess in the first place. Ignoring and ridiculing these people, these white supremacists, these, alt-righters and all these different people who are saying things that sound like they come from the 1940s and 50s. I think these people need to be addressed. I don't think you can laugh at them, and I don't think you can misrepresent their arguments. I think you need to deal with them directly, and I think you need to be very clear on what they're saying so that you can really dismantle it. If all you're doing is reacting in a knee-jerk fashion and yelling back at them, well, that's what fuels their hatred. Then they can call you an SJW or a snowflake or a leftist, and they can dismiss you. But I'm not any of those things. I'm not a fucking snowflake. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a progressive. I'm not anything. See, you can't label me, motherfuckers. I am me. And by not identifying with any of these isms, I'm able to actually look at these issues in a different way. This is kind of a joke, obviously. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a white ethnostate anywhere. But the idea of it is so ridiculous that it has to be addressed. You can't just say, oh, it's stupid, and walk away. You have to actually explore what it would mean to have a white ethnostate. And to me, when I run the scenario in my mind with what I know about the economy and demographics, both in Canada and the US, to me, I can see a white ethnostate being very, very useful and productive for the rest of us. Not so much for the people who want the white ethnostate. I think they'll be ultimately very disappointed. But that's okay, because we need to bring those people back into the fold. A lot of these people just need a hug. And a lot of these people need to realize that what they hate in these other groups is not race. It has nothing to do with race. Maybe it has to do with culture. Maybe it has to do with misconceptions and stereotypes. Maybe it has to do with the fact that their parents were bigots and they programmed their kids to be bigots. You can deprogram people, and people can deprogram themselves. That's the best part. You don't even need help. I've seen many stories of, white supremacists, skinheads, racists, forming relationships with people from the groups they despise and realizing that, oh shit, I've been wrong all along. These people are just like me. So it's definitely possible to deprogram the racists and the bigots and all that, but you're not going to do it by yelling at them and ridiculing them and telling them they're stupid and wrong, even though, in my opinion, they are. Stupidity is not an inherent trait that you have for life. Stupidity doesn't exist. Let's call it what it is. It's ignorance, right? You don't know the facts, or you don't know the realities, and you have a skewed experience or a skewed perspective on the matter. That's all it is. Skewed perspectives can be straightened, and ignorance can be filled with knowledge and understanding. So, to me, none of these people are irredeemable. None of these people are inherently bad. They're just misinformed. They're conditioned by their environment, by their culture, their white culture, their racist culture, and maybe what they need is exactly what they want. Maybe giving them that white ethnostate would make them realize just how fucked they are without all the awesome people of different cultures and ethnicities and etc., who make the world great. We're at our best when we work together and when we have variety. If I'm just with people who are like me, we're not going to achieve a whole lot, because I have a very finite skill set and a very finite knowledge base. I need people who complement my skills. I need people who have knowledge that I lack and expertise that I lack. I want to eat Indian food, goddammit. I want to try Ethiopian. Variety, man. Variety is so good. Try different things. Stop being so narrow in your fucking world. It's crazy to me. There's this huge smorgasbord out there of cultures and ideas and beliefs and practices. And I'm not saying that you have to like all of them, but I'm saying go out and explore, man. And then maybe you'll stop being a bigot and a racist. Anyway, this rant went off the rails, my friends. I'm here in the parkade talking to my phone like a crazy person. I realize what this looks like. As soon as I said segregation, you saw my shaved head, you were probably like, oh shit. Thanks for joining me, and live well, my friends.